Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lope, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lope, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lorraine, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to cook up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. I never get enough of that song. I love it. Kitchen talk. Wish I was a singer.
You know, there's a part in there that I'm like, that sounds like Queen Latifah when she says it, but
Oh, okay.
I like to hear that. Every time I hear something different. So
I love it. How are you doing?
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Wow. Now we're not moving slow.
Yes, way better.
Yay.
I just have to jump rooms in the house. I'm good.
Hey.
Yay. So all the way from Jacksonville, Florida. This is my Auntie V, y'all.
Yes, we already heard a lot about you on our show because Lisa was sharing the wealth or sharing your business and what you guys do on our February Show the Love.
Yes. Jack and Dot Tax Preparation. And she is the CEO, owner.
20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So we're gonna get some good information. It's tax season.
We're gonna get some good information. JT Plummer.
You got the wrong t-shirt on.
No, I ain't got the wrong t-shirt on. I got the right one on.
No,
the FAMU one is in the washing machine right now. So in the laundry. I got to go with my alternative. Them Gators.
Oh Lord. Still made a mistake.
Nah.
That FAMU shirt need to be on deck, ready. Just like our taxes need to be on deck, ready.
Ooh, what a rough year.
Listen, 2020 was really something, okay? So you gotta help us out and let us know what's going on. So here is the first question. So before we get there, I gotta tell y'all this. Somebody chased me down on Monday because they miss me just that much.
What you talking?
I'm teaching my class Monday night, and somebody just pop up in my room. I'm like, what are you doing here? That one right there.
Oh Lord. He wanted us for conversations.
I sure did. She better be glad she didn't have a class full, because it would have been a show.
I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm teaching my kids. I'm on Zoom. It's one in the room. I'm like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude. And so we figured out, even though JT didn't think so, it's been over a year since we've seen each other physically.
I still can't believe it. Can't believe it.
Yeah. A year.
Yes, that's right. Because March, we left them on spring break last year.
Well, that was For school, I'm saying kitchen talk. The last time we were all together was December 2019.
Oh wow.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Physically together for
Right.
Christmas break, dinner, you know what we do. Yeah.
Well, thank God for the internet.
I know.
All right.
All right, so let's get into this. So, Auntie V, Valencia Cain, owner and CEO of Jack and Dot Tax Preparation, is here with us today to break down some myths about taxes or filing taxes. But here's the first question on TV. Let's see, I wrote it down so I will make sure that I got all the questions that we wanted to ask. All right. Are taxes all about a number?
No. Taxes truly have nothing to do with a number. It has to do with a law. So if the law does not apply to your life, the number will never be created. So for example, if you do not have children, you can never get child tax credit. If you make over $12,500 in 2020, you cannot get earned income credit. If you're under 25 years old, you cannot get earned income credit. So it has nothing to do with a number. It has to do with the law that creates that number. So, and no two people will ever be the same.
Wow.
So my sister watching right now, that mean I can't claim one of her kids on my
You
tax.
can, but I would advise you.
I and Muffin, we can't. We gonna get caught.
You don't get caught. You don't get caught. You don't get caught.
Hey, mommy.
So, what are some of the things like I'm using? What is this thing called to help me keep up with all of the things that I'm buying for my business? So I'm using QuickBooks Self-Employed.
Okay.
So it's been helpful. But I'm having some issues. What do you think I should do in terms of talking to my CPA or talking to my tax preparer?
What issues are you having? What are your issues? What are your issues?
I was trying to bring in last year's taxes into my, I guess the swipe, where you swipe whether you it's business or it's personal. And there's a specific point, I want to say like February or March, that I cannot bring in. I guess I just have to do it manually. Is that correct?
Right. That's a part of the QuickBooks system that has that flaw in it. For me, anybody that's doing new business and trying to keep up with their stuff, I teach people how to put it on a spreadsheet. Save yourself some money. Yeah. Put it on a spreadsheet. Make the spreadsheet yourself. And because you're having to do the work, you're going to be more responsible when it comes to your business, because you now know every in and aspect of it. When you get to putting and letting another program or company do it for you, you take a lot of things for granted, in my opinion. You don't cherish the business as well. You don't look out for it as deep as you should. So go back to brick and mortar. Create your spreadsheet. Make it work for you and save the money from QuickBooks.
And I used to do that. I thought that QuickBooks would be a more efficient way of collecting that data for myself and for my tax preparer.
It's only efficient because if you pay the additional money to make it efficient with QuickBooks, then yes, it works. Okay. But if you want the lower side, it doesn't work for you, because now you did not pay to advance and upgrade them to actually give you that information. So in my opinion, QuickBooks freezes a lot of your information until you pay more money.
And I did. I ended up paying more money for it.
Oh,
I said, well.
they got to get there.
They got right. But if we go back to brick and mortar, we go back to hands-on for ourselves, if we go back, we're going to do a lot better with these businesses, because now we truly know it from A to Z, because you have had to put your hand on every piece of it. When you don't do that, you do not do good. You think you're doing good at business until you sit down and put your hands in every piece. Then you say, oh, I should have. Oh, this would have. But you got to go back to the beginning first. You got to go back to the basics first.
Got you.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
My grandparents always told me to make sure you handle your business.
I'll let Lisa
Amen.
Handle your bit. Okay, let's get into these myths, Auntie V. So Auntie V gave me 5 myths about taxes. So here is the first one. Let me see if it'll let me do it. There it is. I can only claim 3 children.
This is one of the questions I hear the most. And people say I can only claim 3 children, which is not true. You can claim as many children as your income allow. And what that means is that if you make $20,000, you know 1 or 2 children gonna get you the max benefit. But if you're making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, all 5 of them children gonna give you some benefit. Now, 3 children is all you can get earned income credit for. But if child tax credit is allowed on all 5 and you got the income, you get it on all 5. So you can claim as many as your income allow.
All right, Mother, we back on.
You got that income, you need some help, don't you?
I know. I'm like, man, I need to find me somebody child. No, I'm just playing.
Don't do it.
I ain't gonna do it because first of all, I'm too cute to go to jail. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work for me.
That's how I feel.
So yeah, I just can't. All right, here's the second one. When my child turns 18, I can no longer claim them on my taxes.
Very, very not true. And the reason it's not true is, first of all, if your child go to college, the financial aid is based on the parent, not the child. The child must be on a parent's tax return in order to qualify for financial aid. Okay? So the government says a child can stay your dependent between the ages of 18 and 24 as long as they are considered a college student.
Oh.
The child can work and make as much money as they want to make, and it does not affect the parent's tax return at all. The child's income cannot be put on the parent's tax return. It has to be put on their own tax return.
Correct.
So I don't care if they're making more than $20,000 a year. They're a freshman in college. They still have to say their parent's dependent because that parent has to do all of the financial responsibility to the college for that child. Now let's flip the children backwards. Let's say your child is 18 years old, graduated high school, and do not go to college. He no longer becomes a parent's dependent because now he's 18, and I know everybody's shaking their head. Because they're only giving credit to children that is in college now. That the child can get all they want to get, and you could keep them till they were 65, but not now. You would get no earned income credit for that child now. You would get no child tax credit for that child now. They're useless on the tax return.
So, Auntie V,
your statement that it's not about the numbers, it's about the laws.
Right.
So, are they only doing it for college students? What about if I guess they would if they're going into the military.
Then military is going to be based on they get their first basic training time. If that's the time that they claim it, the parent going to claim that child. When they get out and start making their own dollars, then they become their own dependent. They become their own. They become independent. They no longer is a dependent. They become independent.
Gotcha.
So 2 questions. One, what if the child is still in high school, but they turn 18?
And then they get to stay on your tax return because they in high school.
Okay. And then 2, what's the class credit, or how many classes do they have to be taking to be considered a college student?
At least 2 part-time.
Okay.
Yeah, part-time student, and that's all they have to have. Yeah. That could be trade school. That could be vocational school. That could be anybody. That could be a fire academy. That can be merchant seaman school. It does not matter.
As long as they're educated, as long as they're educated themselves.
Program, because the government says that a person has to be able to provide more than 50% of their own care. And not be a dependent. So everything has a number, an age, and a threshold.
Wow.
And that gives us a part of how those laws are created. With those 3 things, that's where the law comes from.
Very interesting. Which leads us into number 3. Students don't have to pay taxes.
That's not true. They work, they got to pay taxes. Now, you find that students who work between the ages of 18 and 24, they're on their parents' tax return as a dependent. But when they file, they have to file themselves as a dependent of someone else's, which is why both people get to claim a tax return for that same Social Security number. Okay.
Oh.
You have to check a box as a student and say, hey, I am being claimed by my mom. I'm being claimed by somebody else. Don't care who, I'm being claimed by somebody else. So they become a dependent of somebody else's, and then they get to file their taxes, but they have to indicate they're a dependent of somebody else's. But then
Now,
if
what happens?
Money, they got to pay taxes too.
Say, even if they make more money?
No, if they file their tax return and they owe 100, 200, they owe their taxes at 18. They got to pay their taxes.
Oh, wow.
So what happens in the situation? I mean, and especially in what we living in today, where that student may be making just as much or maybe a little more than the parent.
Doesn't matter. They're students. All of it get to be waived.
Wow.
Mama still get to claim them because she's still solely responsible for them. The government is making a parent claim children on insurance until they're 24. Now you got to stay on the parent tax return until you're 24. Now, a lot of students want to clear themselves as an independent, where they want to do everything on their own. But it's dangerous because if you're in a lower income family, you're going to miss out on aid because the school is not going to take you on a tax return by yourself. Because of your age, they're going to ask you, where's your parents' return? When you're not on there, that school tells you, I need your parent to amend this tax return in order to give us one that suits the need of financial aid. So it creates bigger problems. When I learned a lot of the schools teach these kids when they in there, oh, go downstairs and file your taxes. Don't do that, children. Get up, mama and your daddy that tax. Get up, give them your income, let them do it. Because when you do it on your own, you mess yourself up from getting future help. Now you're going to force your parents to have to go back and redo and repay for another return because you did something quickly that you shouldn't have done. You're still their responsibility.
Yeah, my parents at an early age, now, I'm pretty sure we could have done the taxes ourselves, but my dad said, well, no, go to this person and let them prepare your taxes. That way we won't have we won't run into issues or situations. So it was easy for me to get my financial aid because we did it all together, right? So
and that's what I do advise. Yeah. If parents are already using one person, parents typically send the child to the same person. That person knows that family dynamics.
Right.
So that person know what to do for that child. And they know how to process parent taxes and children taxes. So everybody get clear. So you don't have a financial aid problem at that point.
This is like so very interesting because I didn't really have a job in high school. Or even, I mean, college until I decided not to go to college. Then I got a job. But I'm going to tell you, I did not file no taxes. Because, I mean, so this was all, you know, when you get grown, then you learn some of this stuff. But before then, it's like, what are taxes? So it's very interesting that we now talk about it, you know, because I mean, we've had this conversation too about money being so taboo, you know, we don't talk about money, you know, whatever. But this is very important because if a college student is working a job and the parent doesn't know, because they're not, you know, they up here in school and the parent down south, you know, and they're not really thinking about it, you know, whatever. So that child still, or that student still needs to let the parent know this is what I'm doing so that all of that can be worked out because it affects so many other areas.
It does.
That part I didn't know.
Yeah, it does affect all that. And that's the only way I try to teach people. In taxes in my business, I do a more educating than I do anything else because I find us, so people of color, have the most problems and do the most backwards stuff. So if I can give you the insight now, and when new kids come in, 18 years old, I tell them there's a set of rules and they have to get them. Don't ever leave a tax office without a copy in your hand. And they always say, why? I say, because if you leave my office and I have your W-2 and I prepared your stuff and I didn't give you a physical copy, when you leave, I could change that to say anything I wanted to say. I can change it and take all your refund money. I could change it and up the refund and don't tell you. I can do all of that. But if you leave with a copy in your hand and you get audited or something goes wrong, you got something physical to say, hey, Mr. IRS, this is what they gave me. And then I become responsible. Otherwise, you become responsible.
So with the new, COVID situation, at least they have to, like my tax preparer sends me an email. So I get a physical copy. But lately I've been getting an email downloadable that I know this is what you've prepared for me.
That's true.
Moving forward. So I think people are going to start seeing more of that. What's your thought?
That's what I'm actually doing mostly too, doing the email. So for me, I am sending all of the documents the IRS require through a DocuSign. And they sign them. Once they come back to me, then I send you a physical email copy with a passcode on it that you get to keep forever, but it's still a copy. So if something goes wrong, you got something you can download and say, hey, this is what I actually got from them. Yeah,
that is very important. Very important. All right, let's move on to number 4. Auntie V, when you sent me this one, I really laughed. You can claim pets as dependents,
but you cannot.
You can and you cannot.
You cannot. You cannot.
Not really. Is that a real question? Do people really ask you that?
You get it every day. Yes. Because people tell me they spend a lot on their pet. They buy the clothes, the vet bills, they have the special food, they have the vitamins, they have this and that. So they want to be able to recoup some of the money they're spending. And my answer to them is that you just love your pet, keep loving your pet, keep doing it, but you can't claim it.
Wow. I really thought that was a joke.
No, that's a real.
I thought it was real. I thought people were actually claiming their pets because of just what Ms. V was stating, that a lot of pet owners spend a lot of money on their pets in terms of clothes, food, shots, some minor things. It's like having another child, really.
It is to a lot of people, though. It is, but you cannot claim anybody that do not have a Social Security number.
Oh, that's gonna be next.
And your pet don't have one.
Are we getting the pet Social Security numbers?
No, we're not giving the pet Social Security number. No.
Before you know it, everybody got a pet bird, a pet snake, a pet
snake, parrot, something.
They're claiming it.
No. But no, you can't have that. No.
I'm putting my lizard. What my fish tank? I got. I don't got one. I don't got 3 kids. I got 50 of them.
Okay.
All of them got a number.
All of them got a number. The pets got a number. Oh my goodness. That is hilarious. I can
see how that could kind of balloon out of control.
That will balloon very fast out of control too.
Yeah, very quick.
So here's another question. JC got kicked out. He can't get back in. Hold on, I got to send the link.
Well, I got a question too while you're doing that, Lisa.
Go ahead.
My question is, I have to do a better job. I'm gonna put myself out there. I need to do a better job. And my tax preparer and I, we go way back, and she knows my habits. She knows what I do. She keeps up with me. But one of the things I keep telling her every year is, you know what? I need to start meeting with you more. Instead of just waiting till January, February, we need to meet on a quarterly basis. How much of a benefit would that be for you and for your clients?
The first question I would have is, why do you want to meet on a quarterly basis?
Just so that at the end of the year, all my stuff is already in play. I don't have to, like you were saying earlier, set up your Excel sheet. Or if you're using, any other tools, make sure everything is in place. So that way I'm not trying to pull all of the resources in in you know, December, January, and getting ready to send it out.
So in reality, you answered your own question to me, and here's
Yes.
say that if you keep up with your Excel spreadsheet, you don't need to meet on a quarterly basis because you're keeping up with your documents, right?
Yes.
Unless you want to meet with your person just to discuss new things you're doing, to ask, how would that affect my tax life? To say, I'm going to start a new business. This is direction I want to take it in. What are your suggestions? Those are the kind of things you meet about quarterly or once or twice a year. You really don't meet to talk about what you are currently doing and what you are currently operating and what she's currently used to. You really meet to talk about the new ventures that you're going to take on, the new things you're going to start. How am I going to start them? How's it going to benefit me tax-wise? How am I going to do it? Am I going to get a tax break? If I set it up this way, is it going to be a break? If I set it up that way, is it going to be a break? Those are the things you meet to talk about, but not necessarily the stuff that she's already accustomed to. You're going to meet to talk about some new stuff, the new adventures. That's what your meeting is going to be about. So no, you should not just meet quarterly just to have a conversation. But if you're doing new things, yes, you do want to run that by them because you do want them prepared for what you're going to give them next time.
I also thought about like future casting. Like I could already kind of, she and I can already determine how much I might be paying out, you know, for my taxes if I do have to pay out. So that I'm prepared to make that payment.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm saying. That's why you're not going to be talking about your current. You're going to be talking about all that new stuff you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to future casting on your money, you is the only one who potentially know what you're going to be making. So you don't need her help to future cast that. You already know that. And that's why I say get back to brick and mortar to these businesses, because now you'll be answering all your own questions before you get to her.
Wow.
That is true. That is true.
So here's my question. I'm back on the pet thing.
Really?
No, this is serious. This is a serious question, though, for real.
We're serious.
So, for those who have the emotional companions, the pets, is there space for that in taxes?
Are you meaning like the service animals?
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about those. So the service dogs, service animals for the blind or visually impaired, or emotional support animals that we have now. So it's a pet, but it's not a pet.
Here's the thin line to that. You cannot claim the pet, but because of the reason you have the pet, it's a medical reason, you get to take a medical deduction. So you still can't claim that animal. But that animal is your medical savior. That animal medically keeps you sane. That animal medically keeps you quiet. So that becomes a medical deduction and not a pet deduction. So you got two sides to that.
But you need a some type of documentation from your doctor or something to claim that. Is that correct?
Only if you're audited. Now, I don't want all that. Don't bring me that documentation. Too much paper. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, because I can keep doing that. Like, you know, my fish brings me, reduce my stress. You know what I mean?
And that's why it becomes a medical deduction. So that's what taxes to me is, an interview process. Unless you interview a person to really know their life, you cannot help them, and you cannot learn what laws and what benefits them, because the interview has to take place. Now, what I find is a lot of people want to be secretive about the life. Well, keep it, because I can't help you until you decide to tell me. Gotcha. I'm not asking you questions to be nosy, because when you leave, I don't remember nothing about you. But when you're sitting in front of me, it is my job and my duty to make sure you get the best benefit possible. And the only way I can do that is by asking you questions. So when you tell me I have the service, or when you walk in with a service animal, that cued me to ask, hey, let's talk about this, because this pet has a little covering over it. It has the name on the side. It gave me things to look at to say, hey, this is something special to this person. Now I got to ask questions to see what can I get out of this for this person to help their taxes. So it's a part of the interview process. You got to go all the way with it.
Which, you know, this is another question in terms of some of the tax laws that have changed since we have a new administration. You know, how is that? How, in terms of that interview process, are you looking at, you know, some of those changes in terms of how it helps each client?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Because I know you get so many clients, especially around this time of year, right?
Right.
How do you keep up with, okay, this person has this issue and this will go with this tax law, or this will go with that tax law?
A lot of things. I have a whiteboard in my office that when the laws come out, I get emails from IRS on 5 different levels. I post them on the board. I take a lot of classes to make sure from July to December to make sure I keep up with the laws in multiple states and all over to see what's coming up. The software company I use gives us a list of every change that came down for the year. And it's up to us to study those changes. So I go in, I print the whole 17 pages this year to tell me what the changes were. And each change may not benefit people in my area because taxes to me is a market thing. So you live in Florida, you're only looking at a few things because we don't have a lot of farming. Everybody's looking for earned income credit, child tax credit, and da-da-da-da-da. Can I claim my mama, my daddy? That's what they're looking for. But when you go to states and when you go to other places that may have farming, may have this agriculture, they have a whole lot of stuff you got to look at differently. So you study the laws because they're not just geared to that one area. That law can fit everybody across the board. So you just have to study those laws and see and interview. When they come in, you talk to them. You ask all of these millions of questions. You try to get them to open up. If they don't open up, there's nothing you can do about that.
You brought up a really good piece. You know, we're changing over from the parent being the dependent for the child, but what if it's the other way around? What if I'm, you know, sending money home to mom and dad to help them out, maybe taking care of mom and dad at the house? Do they become a dependent? Is that a tax write-off?
Oh, that's a good question.
They do. They can become a dependent of yours. I look at that a few ways. I look at that as what type of income do the parent have? So, for example, if the parents strictly have Social Security, that Social Security check is not providing more than 50% of their care. So someone has to help take care of them. And then that becomes a child. You then get to claim the parent. You do not have to claim the parent's Social Security on your taxes at all. It still just becomes their money. But the rule is, who's providing more than 50%? Who's taking care of the household? Now, a parent does not have to live in your house to be your dependent.
That was going to be my next question. Correct.
Because it's a parent. But the child has to be in your house to be a dependent. That parent don't. So everything has those rules and those laws and those thresholds. The parent could be in a nursing home and be your dependent. The parent can be in
we're moving into that.
They can be in their own home.
They can be in their own home and be your dependent. But again, you're sending money, you're paying that light bill, you're paying that water bill, you're going to the grocery store 3 times a week, you're going to the Walgreens and you're getting that medicine. That money that they're getting at Social Security in most cases is between $700 and $1,000 a month.
Right.
They pay the rent.
Right.
So they're not providing their own care. Now, when they had the job and was working and all that, they were taking care of themselves. But now they're elderly. They're not in that situation. So yes, they can become a child's dependent.
Wow. That's interesting. All right. So let's get to number 5.
Oh, we haven't made it to 5 yet?
No. These Auntie V, these conversations, they sizzle and they get away from you.
They get hot.
Number 5.
Let's see. I gotta get me a pillow. Let me see. Figure this out. All right, go.
Married filing separate is better than married filing joint.
Good question.
Okay, let's talk about this from a couple of standpoints. First of all, married filing separate is the worst filing status ever. And this is why.
Okay.
You lose all credits. You do not get earned income credit with married filing separate. All of that stuff goes away. So when people decide to do that, I always ask why. They have to have a good reason for me to say yes to that, because there are other ways around it. If they file marriage, filing joint and claim innocent spouse, let's say one parent owe student loan, the husband owes student loan, the wife don't. Okay, both of them is working, both of them have income. There's something called innocent and injured spouse forms that can be done that will allow only the person with the debt to pay it. The other person still can get their money. So why would you not do the joint return, do the injured spouse form, allow you to get the larger of the refund, and still let that person pay their debt?
Without affecting you.
Without affecting you. Because the innocent spouse keeps you from ever being responsible for the debt. So if you file a joint tax return and don't do an innocent spouse, the debt that he created now becomes yours.
Yes.
So that's the inclination of filing separate, is that I don't want to take on your debt or be penalized for your debt.
I don't want to take on the debt you already created, so you don't pay your taxes. I don't want to do that. So yes, that's what happens. But if you have kids and anything else, not only just the kids, it's the worst because you lose all credits. Now, if you do joint, you're going to get those credits back. Do the joint, do the innocent spouse, let that person be responsible for their own debt. And as a unit, then I got mine, because they're going to split the check. They're going to give her hers. They're going to take his. But they do it based on how much income each person has on the tax return. They do what is called a split, and it gives the liability of each person.
Okay. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so mommy said, no, Lisa, I can't be your dependent.
You know Lisa's gonna put that claim in this year. Mommy, you ain't getting that check from Lisa every month. You know she claiming that. Claiming that. I love it.
Not yet. She's still pretty independent.
Yeah, she is that now. She is that. That's my left hand. She's independent.
So now the parent can still file their own taxes, but you can still
if they have to. So when it comes to parents, that's a good point there. If a parent only receives Social Security, they do not have to file a tax return.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Right. Social Security is not considered taxable income. Now, let's flip it. If a parent has Social Security and retirement, they must file a tax return.
Got you.
But Social Security alone is not considered fileable as taxable income.
So when they're pulling, when Uncle Sam pulling this money out of my check, are we deducting Social Security first before they calculate what they're gonna take out, or do they just take it out from the top?
They're just taking it out. Social Security is not a pre-tax deal.
Yeah.
No, it's not a pre-tax. But not the Social Security. He's not a pre-tax deal. No.
Uncle Sam need to get his first. He know you're gonna spend that money.
He know you are.
Oh man.
I need him to get his hand out my pocket.
He gonna get deeper in your pocket. In 2020, he got deeper in your pocket. So don't look for him to get out. He going in.
So okay, so let's get here. So one of the other things that you want to talk about were new tax rules of the year 2020. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Auntie V, let us have it.
People for y'all. There's a lot of them.
So we're gonna have to have Auntie V back now.
I like talking about this mess, right?
I'm selfishly helping myself. I know we're talking for everybody.
You taking notes, friends?
Taking notes and everything.
Yeah. So one of your newest things in 2020 was your new W-4. So what most people did not realize is that in the old administration, that president allowed employers to reduce the amount of federal withholding taxes you paid And you noticed you were getting a couple of dollars extra in your check. But when it came down to filing taxes, you were now responsible for all the missing pieces that you had there. So it really put you in a different situation where you may have gotten less of a refund and even possibly owed. And that's why that came up. At the same time when they did that, they also changed the W-4. So if people want to know what that looks like now, go to irs.gov, in the search box, put W-4, and it will bring up for you to be able to see what the new form looks like. The old form had, you remember how it had box 5 and box 6 where you put how many exemptions you claiming?
Yeah.
That form does not exist anymore. The new form has, if you have children under the age of 16, multiply that number by 2,000 and put it here. The next section say, if you have children over the age of 17, multiply that number by 500 and put it here. What that is geared to do, in my opinion, is to make people pay less taxes and owe money at the end of the year. Because if you put a 2,000 times your 3 kids, you're going to pay that much less in taxes. When you get ready to file, you think those children are going to save your life, but you didn't pay nothing. Now I want all my nothing back that you didn't pay.
Oh.
So it's geared to really hurt.
Wow.
And people are not paying attention to the fact that, yes, I'm getting this $20. Yes, I'm getting this $40 a payday, but it's going to cost you something in the end.
Right.
Get that $20 and $40 back to Uncle Sam until you file your taxes like you're supposed to. And make sure you're paying the right amount of taxes. Because 2020, the tax rate changed. We used to have, if I'm not mistaken, 6, 10, 12%. A lot of that's gone. We don't have a 6. We have a 10. We got a 12. We no longer have a 15%. Now we got a 22. And the new tax laws is based on how much money you earn is how much taxes you're responsible for. And that's going to be hard on people. You make $60,000, you should be paying taxes at 22%. You never heard of it, but that's what it really is. But if you go to irs.gov again and look at the 2020 tax table, it's going to tell you, depending on single, married, married filing, separate, married filing, joint, it tells you exactly what your percentage is. So nobody's paying the right amount of taxes because nobody know they're supposed to. No job told you to. No job automatically changed it. None of that happened.
I was about to say that. I didn't get anything about redoing your W-4. I still had the same W-4 I did when I, was hired.
Right. Do you get more money in your check from last year? So last year, example, were you getting any additional money? You said, oh, I'm getting a couple of extra dollars here and there.
Well, I can't really say because I got a new job, so okay. it was a few glory. It was a few extra.
You won't see that till 2021, 2022.
Yeah, you're not gonna see. But then I do advise everybody to look at their federal withholding every payday to make sure you are paying something, because I saw people with $80,000 and $90,000 who paid $800,000-900,000. You're $10,000 to $12,000 short already. So when you walk in and you owe this money, you're saying, why? You didn't do nothing. You knew you weren't paying no tax. Quit acting like that. That's what I tell them. Quit acting like that. You knew you weren't paying no tax.
So when we look at our pay stubs and each week or each biweekly or however it is monthly, when we look at the withholding for that particular pay period, you're saying we should see at least 22%?
Depending on your income. So if you're in a small income bracket, you should see 10%.
Okay.
So let's say you make $20,000 a year. Okay. At the end of the year, you should have paid at least $2,000 in taxes.
Okay.
So if you take that $2,000 divided by 26 pay periods, this is what you should have been paying every payday.
Gotcha.
If you have not done that, even on an $80,000, you got to pay. Now you got to pay more than $8,000 because that's 10%.
Right.
But let's just take you to 12%. You got to monitor what you're putting out there or what's coming out there from you, because you can always go back and add an extra amount to make sure you're covering yourself. And I find the most problems with single people because there's no tax breaks for you.
No tax breaks.
No tax breaks. Single, no kids, you just paying money.
Your only tax break is to pay taxes.
Right.
That's all you got. That's all y'all got. But you're the one who has to monitor to the most. I saw the state this year who sent out when people come in and I'm like, hey man, you didn't pay no taxes. What happened? I'm gonna show you this. They pull up their email. I say the state gave you an email right there and told you what they was gonna do. You chose not to read it. Well, it's the state fault too. They sent it right in the middle of Christmas break. You know nobody want to read no email at Christmas.
Right.
You know they're not reading no email.
You know, but that's why you sent it to them then. And you gave them a time frame to change the W-4, or else you was automatically going to exempt them. So that created problems. But a lot of companies did it. As long as they can say they email you or notified you, it's your responsibility now, not
I need to go look back at my Christmas emails and see.
They sent it at a time when nobody was looking. So I mean, it happened a lot. But that's the biggest change for the year. Now, another change was your W-4 was number one. So let's talk tax breaks for 2020. A lot of people had to take money out of their 401k and investments account in 2020 because of COVID. So there's a law out there now that comes up under the CARES Act. And it says that if you have a 1099-R, because you took money out of any retirement plan and you got a 1099-R, you're allowed to do two things this year. If you are under 59 and a half years old, you normally will pay a 10% penalty for taking the money out. Okay? If I ask you, why did you take the money out or I ask you, was this COVID related? And you tell me yes, I get to waive the 10% penalty. You will never be charged for it. And I get to stretch out your taxable portion over a 3-year period. So it reduces your taxable income, it keeps you from owing, and in a lot of cases, they give you a larger refund. That's a part of the CARES Act. So that's one of the things that came out that I see most people are being able to take advantage of. And because a lot of people was not working and had to take this money out, they're giving them a break for not penalizing them for having to do it. And it's really benefiting people. If you're doing it, you're going to do it on an 8915E form. And you have to check COVID related. You have to put the dates in, and you have to use the total amount of money on the 1099-R. And it will do the calculations and wipe it all out for you. But the main thing is to save that 10% penalty, because you're not old enough to take that money out without a penalty. And the age to do that without a penalty is 59 and a half. Well, you're in your 40s. But I needed this right now to pay this rent. I needed this for whatever. We don't have to make you prove it was COVID related. All I have to do is ask you the question, and all you have to do is know how to answer it.
So what about if you got again, COVID relief money or a PPP loan or something else like that? How does that affect the tax season for a lot of individuals going into this new tax season?
It doesn't affect you until you get the money forgiven on the PPP.
Got you. How do you do that?
So if you go out and do a forgiveness application, it gets approved, and you do not have to pay the money back. Then the following year, you're probably going to get a 1099 miscellaneous or NEC because the money was forgiven. And it's going to become income on the taxes, but you won't have to pay it back.
You don't have to pay it back. So you would
But
pay
it becomes income.
But it's probably going to become income. Now, they have not gave all the rules as to what they're going to do with that PPP money yet. Right. I do know in Jacksonville, people went downtown and was able to get $2,000 relief. They did get a 1099 because I am seeing those. But I have not yet seen anybody that has their money forgiven. Because I took a class in November, and the guy told us, do not forgive the money this year. Forgive it. Don't forgive it last year, but forgive it this year. And I did ask why. I was in a tax class. He said, well, they're going to give you some documents. If you just wait it out, because they're going to come out with more money, get all the money you're going to get, and then forgive. Because you only forgive one time.
Right.
So the second wave of PPP is already out. If you get the second round, then you do a forgiveness on all of it at one time. Because if you forgave the first time, you cannot get the second wave forgiven because you've already done a forgiveness.
And the just to be clear, PPE is for businesses. Is that right?
Yeah, payroll. It's a payroll. It's for you. It was really geared for you to be able to keep your employees on payroll during the COVID crisis.
Right.
So here's another question with the stimulus. Now y'all know when it first came, I told Auntie B this, I was like, I'm not spending that money because they're gonna come back and want that money when I ain't got it. And I need my money, and they're gonna be like, remember we had gave you and we wanna I was like, oh, I'm not spending that money. Auntie B was like, spend the money.
Spend the money. Nothing you can do. Holding it is not gonna save you. I mean, spend the money.
Right.
So my question is, do we know anything about, is that going to become counted as income for us, or
it has not been? No.
Okay.
And it is not supposed to be. So this year, the money you got and whatever those two, that 1,200, 600, whatever y'all got,
right,
is not taxable income. It is not income on the tax return at all. So in 2020, for all the people who did not get it, is allowed to get it on their 2020 tax return. So here's where that get a little dicey at for me. Let's say, Lisa, you claimed your child in your 2019 tax return, and you got the stimulus for your child. Well, according to your divorce decree, now your ex-husband has to claim the child the next time. He's going to get the same stimulus for that same child all over again. They have no way to regulate it.
Wow.
So you let the child claim by your mother, they're going to get it. There's no regulation to that. And that's where it's going to get crazy to me. They're giving away money unnecessarily because there's no mechanism to track that. That child's Social Security number is not tracked. Now yours, the taxpayer is, but that kid is free game.
Wow. So in your experience, do you think we're going to have a problem with this down the road?
I want to say no, but I'm not sure. I'm going to say yes, because I think it's out of control. I do think people need it. I do think it's financially helpful to people, but I think it's also abused. Once people learn that they can just flip the child from person to person and still get it, that's all they're doing. And since I do have a daughter that works for the IRS, I've learned that I sold my child to Lisa, and I do this every year. But now I got the stimulus money, and I want to turn Lisa in because she won't give me the stimulus money. Well, hell, it ain't yours. You gave her the child.
That's right.
But
that's right.
The IRS is getting millions of calls of people turning in people to say, I didn't give them permission. Now you're screwing up that person's life because somebody now has to carry identity theft protection pin because you done told them she took your child information. Well, how did she get the Social Security birthday? How she know how the name is spelled on the Social Security card? How did this person know all this unless you, the parent, gave it to her? But you're mad because she's getting stimulus money for your dependent that she already paid you for. We know she already paid you for it. So stop turning them people in. Y'all know what y'all was doing all the time. They're not entitled to give you any of that extra stimulus money because the stimulus is based on their income and the child. So it's not a one-side ball game. If you didn't have the income, you couldn't get the stimulus.
Wow.
So why should I give you all of this money back? I just got blessed because I happened to claim your insurance. I've already paid you your $1,000. Don't want no more from me. And don't in. So it's creating a big havoc. And that's why I say down the road, I feel like it's going to be a problem because you're going to have a lot of people turned in. You're going to have a lot of people audited because of the lie you choosing now to tell about a stimulus check.
Wow.
Ooh, these taxes is something else.
Yeah, honey, they crazy. They crazy.
These taxes are something else.
I
My
think it's
goodness.
going to be interesting with all of the new laws, new administration. I think this year and next year.
Yes.
So going back to what you said too, should I wait to file my taxes based on knowing that the new administration may change up some of the information or the laws that are currently in place? What's your thoughts about that?
I think you should wait. I think everybody should wait. But most people did not wait. And because they signed a bill today, a lot of things are changing come next week.
And they're gonna change for the filing period for now?
Yes, ma'am. They change it every day.
So so how long should I wait? Like if I did not do my taxes last year, here we are this year. Should I wait another year before I do my taxes? That's 3 years.
No. Now that's a good point you brought up. So let's go there real quick. All right. What you said was I did not do my taxes last year. All right. Even if you did an extension, you're still going to pay a penalty now because you're late.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the penalty can be up to 50 months of penalty. A lot of money. So stop waiting. So people who choose to wait with or without an extension is going to pay a penalty. Once you file the tax return, the IRS is going to send you a separate pretty little letter, say you owe us XYZ dollars.
Right.
Don't be mad about it. Just pay them people their money because it's going to outline failure to file, late filing, penalties. But here's the kicker. You will be paying interest on every unpaid dollar until the debt is paid. So if you got the money to pay that debt, pay it off as quick as you can because the interest outgrows what you pay. That's why people never get out of IRS debt.
Right.
Because you pay $50 a month. Yeah. Right. And you got a $5,000 bill, you're paying $50 a month. Hell, next year that's $6,000. You're never getting out.
I was thinking of Wesley Snipes when you were saying that. That's why I bought that because and there's a lot of actors who kind of fall in. What's his name? The little short one, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was sharing his story how he fell into a hole and he had to find a way to get out of that hole with the IRS paying them off so that he can get back to where he needed to be. But I think, again, a lot of people don't know, so they fall into that hole thinking that, okay, I can at least fight my way back out.
It's hard, but you talking about, you went all the way to professional people. I'm talking about everyday Joe Blow is in the same situation. I met a lady yesterday, had not filed in the past 12 years.
Wow.
And I asked her, why you filing now? You ain't in jail yet.
Yet is the key word. But so do you think that, okay, so she hasn't filed for 12 years. Do you think that she's not making $1 million, of course, at this point. Do you think that she would be in danger of actually going to jail?
She is in danger. Yes. That's the only reason she walked into a tax office because the IRS letter showed up at her door certified.
Wow.
So she's in danger.
Wow.
So I then says to her, okay, you didn't file. Let me look at your W-2s. I was like, ma'am, you owe about $7,000, right? She say, I do. I said, oh, you know that. Don't sit here and play like that. I said, the reason you have not filed all these years is because you don't pay taxes. But I say, so where is the IRS letter? Oh, it's at the house. Well, ma'am, when you came to the tax office, did you not think I was going to figure this out?
Yes. Like you said it earlier, be honest, share all the information as possible, as much of the information as possible.
But they don't think you're going to figure it out. If you've been in it as long as I have, certain things is a red flag to me.
Right.
So I asked the additional question for her. So I says to her, hey, look, what the letter says. I know you got a screenshot of it. Everybody take pictures of everything. Where is it? What is it? Oh, they wrote my company. I say, oh, so they're writing your HR department and telling them you can no longer go exempt. She say,
wow.
Company wrote me. I say, ma'am, it's possible. But what they're going to do to you now is they're going to take 25% of your salary and they're going to not allow you to ever go exempt again. That's why they wrote your HR department. And yes, the IRS would do it. What they do is they write your HR. They say, hey, Miss LaRae has owed too many taxes. She have not filed in all these years. She cannot claim zero. She must pay her share taxes. And they tell your company how much to make you pay.
Wow.
HR can only comply with the IRS or they have to pay a fine. They're not going to pay a fine on your behalf. They're going to take that money out your paycheck.
Wow.
And then the IRS is going to garnish your part of her check to guarantee they get their money.
I was just thinking that they was probably going to garnish her check.
Yeah, that that's why they wrote her. And that's why she only trying to get it done now is because of that. Yeah. But that's big.
So she's just been ignoring the notices.
Yeah, because she didn't want to pay no taxes.
Because I'm like, how you go 12 years? I'd be scared to go a year.
Yeah.
Now I've gone a year. I've gone 2 years. But after that, I'm like, now I got to do my taxes. And you know, a good point of that is I did my taxes the year before the whole COVID situation. And I've had people who told me, well, I didn't do my taxes. So they didn't get the stimulus.
Right.
Because they didn't have their taxes done. I said, well, you know, you need to at least keep it current, not 5, 6, 10 years, because at that point, whatever situation comes, they're going to say, you owe us. So we're not going to help you out because you owe us money anyways.
Or they'll do them for you. Now, they can do it for you. So like in her case, they done started doing them for her. And all they do then is send you a bill. You owe us XYZ dollars. They don't do anything else. They do them. And they tell you, we've done them for you.
Wow.
Because you didn't do it yourself. They're doing for you. And it's bad if they do them for you.
Because then you don't get to get those deductions or whatever else.
They just drop some numbers and that's it. They did it for you. And you're
would be so scared not to file my taxes. Like, I just would be like, they finna come and get my stuff.
Oh, they are. They are.
Wow. This was good. This is
we got to have another show with you.
Yes. Yes.
Let's talk to some men.
Oh, well, okay. We're going to do this last one.
Okay. Real quick. Men who claim children, even if they're your own biological children, can get audited. Okay. IRS has tapped into welfare, food stamps, child support records. They know exactly where these kids are. Okay. Men, there is a way out. And nobody ever give men a break. So I'm gonna help y'all out today. There is something called a multiple support agreement that is between parent to parent. So mom, give dad permission to claim the children on any given year. Mom has to provide her social, her name, her address, and all, saying she's releasing her rights to him for this particular year. She could tell you how many years she want to do it, if it's only for 1 year. But it saves the men from the audits. When it comes down to saying, I didn't tell him to do that. You like him today, you get mad with him tomorrow, you tell him he can't do it. I'm going to call the IRS to support you. But if the support agreement is in place, she shot her own self in the foot because he has the right
to do
and
the
that's
claim.
8332 form. Guys, make them do the form.
Yeah, so does the form go for multiple years so that you don't have to do it year to year, but you can say, hey, for the next, we'll do every other year for the next 5 years.
It asks you to put the year. So if you want to do 20, 21, 22, 23, it asks you that. Now, when mom want to revoke it, she can go back in on the same form and revoke the rights, but not for the year that they're filing that she's given. So she gives you this year and she tell you next year, but next year y'all not speaking. She can go and revoke it for the next year. She can revoke it for the next year, but the year y'all filing, there's nothing she can do about it. She gave you the right, but they have to
change that up a little bit. If it's
Yeah.
Is it the parent who has custody? Because you said mom, because sometimes a dad will have custody.
Right. So it's the custodial parent. You're right. So whoever the custodial parent is giving up the right. Yes.
Okay, so with that, this thing is tricky, right? So with that, so the custodial parent gives the other parent the right to claim the child, but if all of the WIC and SNAP and all of the federal assistance is going to the custodial parent, then the non-custodial parent that's claiming the child that year, did they really support the child? Like, how does?
And it wasn't about who supported the child. She's the custodial parent with the rights. She's just waiving her rights for the year.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't say it didn't say the child lived with him. It didn't say he took care of the child. It didn't say he paid no child support. It didn't say that. It said, I'm the custodial parent, and I'm gonna say bye-bye for this year, and I'm gonna let him have a good old year and get him some money. Because guess what? When they take his money for child support, I'm gonna get it anyway. But that's crazy. So that's a whole nother story. We ain't gonna go into that. But anyway.
I was just thinking that, like, as soon as he get his check, anyways, it's going back to her anyways, or vice versa. We gotta be, you know,
so
equal
yeah,
in this
custodial parent, and it's more custodial dads now than it is moms.
Right. That's why I said that, because the dads too. Sometimes the men get a bad break, but it's the men that have been, you know, stepping it up. I love it.
Okay, so I do have one more question in the comments.
Okay.
It's so long, I don't know if I want to actually show it, but I guess I can. All right, here we go on TV. So going back a little bit, should you file jointly if one person gets a pension and Social Security, but the spouse only gets Social Security? Also, the pension person did not get a stimulus check, and the Social Security person got a stimulus check. Also, did I hear you say if you only get a Social Security check, you don't have to file? And if filing jointly, will the innocent thing work here if the spouse works but not under a retirement plan and they owe back taxes, maybe?
All right, so let's go through the first part first.
Okay.
Should you file a joint if one person gets a pension and the other person gets Social Security? If you are filing joint tax return, you have to file the pension and both people's Social Security, okay? And that becomes a tax return. That's how that really works. Now, the real question is this: if you file in with one person it is what it is. It's Social Security and pension. If you filing married. Now, if you're not filing married, that Social Security person doesn't have to do anything because all they have is Social Security. They don't have anything to file, okay? The second part of this says the pension person did not get a stimulus check and the Social Security person did get a stimulus check. The reason why is because the person on Social Security stimulus check was based on the information provided by the Social Security Administration to the IRS. So if you had only Social Security, because you are not required to file, your stimulus was based on the information Social Security gave on your behalf. And that's why you got your stimulus. The person with the pension, if they filed in 2018 and got the first $1,200 and did not file in 2019, they did not get a stimulus because the first stimulus was on 18, the second $600 was based on 2019, and this one is going to be based on 2020. So if you don't have anything in the system in 2019, you didn't get the $600. But you can get the $600 in 2020 by doing an RRC tax return. You can get your $600. It's still out there for you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So it's not gone. You still can get your money. So we say, also, did I hear you say that if you get Social Security, you don't have to file? That is correct. If you only have Social Security, only have Social Security. I'm gonna say that third time.
Keyword only.
Only have Social Security.
Only.
Do not have to file. Okay, because Social Security is not taxable income. Now, if you file jointly with the innocent thing work here, if their spouse work but not the other under retirement plan. Let's go back. Work here if the spouse works but not under a retirement plan and they owe back taxes. So what it sounds like you're saying is that one person has a W-2 job and the other person does not. If I'm getting that right, that's what it looked like to y'all.
It does. Like one person's working, one person's not working.
One person's not. The person is working if that person has any tax debt and you file joint with them without the innocent spouse, you are going to now be responsible for their debt. But if you file joint with them and make sure the innocent spouse form is done, you are not going to be responsible for their debt.
So you gave a lot of forms out, and all of these forms are on irs.gov. Is that correct?
That's true. That's why I gave all the numbers so they could actually go. Because if you go to the search box and put in the numbers, it is going to bring you information on how to fill it out, what the form looks like, so you would actually be able to see what all of those are.
Yeah, we got.
So we just need to be. This is almost as important as our voting shows. I think we need to add this to the. We need to do this through the year, so when we get down in here, we're more informed. Because like this is really interesting.
I was just talking to actually my roofer about that. It was that, you know, a lot of this you don't learn in school, right? This is not taught in the classroom unless you're taking at the university level tax law, tax preparations, right? So this is stuff that I think the common person should know. Yes. And I think we make mistakes and we get into those pitfalls because we don't know. And the funny thing about the law is, even if you don't know the law, you still are responsible.
Subject to it. Yep.
Like the lady who didn't file for 12 years. 12 years.
That
if JT was here, he would say, "Good Lord, that's a lot."
That is a lot. That is a lot.
You know, we go through this and we're like, well, I don't have to, because I didn't know, I should be, you know, off the hook.
Whether you know or not, you are the responsible party. Because like the healthcare.gov, the affordable care insurance, that is a pitfall for people that they don't know. It is a pitfall. It is very good insurance. But if you don't use it right, it is not good for you. So the problem that I find with that is this: when you apply for that insurance and you tell them you only made $20,000, and when you file your taxes you made $50,000, you lied to somebody, and the insurance is going to make you pay for it. Right. So they gave you premium tax credit because you only had $20,000, right? Now you filed a tax return, you made $50,000. They gave you too much premium tax credit, and you're gonna pay it back. Wow. Even people that keep taking draws out of their IRAs and 401ks on the affordable care, report that income again so they could stop giving you so much premium tax credit, because all that you get over, you're going to pay back. So those things, it's good insurance. It's good if you use it right, but people do not use it right.
See, all of this, and I think one of the reasons why IRS is so scary is because we don't know. Right. And to dig into it, like you say, oh, go to irs.gov. Well, what I'm gonna see, what I'm looking for, what I'm looking at.
Well, that's why I gave you numbers. Now, because of COVID, they have advanced that system so greatly. You can put in a question now that's probably going to take you to something. Before it wasn't out there like that. But because of COVID, you could now go out and put a question in. Can I claim my kids? It's going to bring up what a dependent is. It's going to show. So it's going to show you something. And that's now your new Bible, because that is where the real information now sits.
So Ms. V,
always there.
Ms. V, you gave us a lot of information where, you know, we could kind of do our taxes. And I know a lot of people do their own taxes and then they may get audited. But I was just listening to a podcast, and one of the things they shared was, why be cheap about getting your taxes done or trying to save on getting your taxes, go to somebody who's a professional at this. This is what you do. That's why I've literally, my tax preparer, I've never filed my own taxes. I've always had a professional do it. And can I do it? Probably can. But I know that if a professional does it and something goes wrong, I have somebody who can vouch for me in my place, in my stead. So getting the right professional person to do, not the fly-by-night tax guy, right? But a reputable company to really represent you. And I think people get into that situation where they have to go to court with the IRS and they go by themselves instead of having a tax lawyer or a tax preparer there with them to help them answer those questions. So I wanted to leave on that point. We really went over time, but I think people need to know your business information. Like, how can they connect with a professional? Now, we know you in Jacksonville, but you could probably do taxes all around the world.
You can, she can.
From Costa Rica to the U.S. right now. I have people in Germany, Japan, everywhere. If you could send it to me, I can do it. So typically, by mail is 1429 San Marco Boulevard, Jacksonville, Florida 32207. By email is info@jackndot.com. And you could email us to ask a question. You could send us your tax information. It's better for email right now. If you call the office, it's 904-647-4512. You will talk to Ron most of the times, which is the office manager there. You'll talk to him. Ron can answer any of your questions, so you don't have to ask for me. He can.
What's the number again?
904-647-4512.
I'm pretty sure you get in that. Like, I gotta talk to Ms. V.
Yeah,
I know Ron, you can help, but no, I want to
play like that. So you're gonna talk to Ron. That's what you're gonna get first. Ron gonna take a message, and then if I can get back to you that day, I will. But usually you could go on Facebook and you can send us a message. You can make an appointment on jackandot.com on Facebook. So it's everywhere. Ask the questions. You don't know, don't do it, and don't be comfortable. I'll say that. If you're not comfortable with it, and be comfortable with the person you're dealing with too, because all of that is very important.
Yeah, I love it. This is great.
This was like, we really need to do this maybe in the summer to get us ready.
Yes,
for tax season.
That's
so
what
we're doing
earlier. Let's really getting ready for December.
Mm-hmm.
So January, you're good to go.
Yes.
But there was another quote on there that's still getting at me. If you want a quick fast, it's gonna cost. So some people want a quick fast and they don't want to pay, but you're gonna have to pay, right?
Yeah.
If you want to, if you don't want to pay, it's gonna take time, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna cost you less. I think the biggest thing people try to do is not pay. So I think it's important for people to start getting used to talking to a tax professional so that they're getting the most out of, all of the benefits and the things that they can get from doing their taxes.
Yeah, but most people only think you're worthy of money if your name is big. So
if you're the H&R Block,
how much they pay them. But when they come to me, the first thing they say is, how much you gonna charge me? I'm not gonna charge you what them people did. Now, do you want this service or not? This is all we do. We're not doing. So those are the oppositions that I have. I have more oppositions being a woman and being a woman of color. I really have a lot of oppositions. But I do have a passion for what I do. I absolutely love what I do. That's why I can talk about it all day long. And I'm pretty good with it. So I like what I do.
You are.
But I do have to stop people all the time. When you want this free service, go to AARP. They got it. She don't have that. I don't have it. Go to AARP. They got a free service. And let them work with you. Call me. I'm here for you. But you find that all the time. You find out what people call all the time. Now I have 60% Hispanic clients. They don't speak English. I don't speak Spanish, but they know what a number looks like. They smile.
All math, right?
Yeah.
It's universal.
Universal. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. So thank you, ITV, for hanging out with us.
This was fun.
It was. It was. I enjoyed it. This was a lot of good information
Yes.
that I think, yes, definitely. We're gonna have to set us up just like we have our voting shows. We're gonna have to set us up a tech show for real. Like, yeah, you gotta come back.
Yeah, we got
So we
to
can talk about this.
guys. We got to keep each other accountable for this and make it. Maybe next time we'll talk some business stuff.
I would love it. I own my own business, and that's how I was kind of being a little selfish. But I said, nah, let's talk about these parents and single people. I think
business is important. I think we got to get into that. I'm doing a lot of mentoring with that through a lot of people right now all over the world. So that is big with how to do the business, how to set it up, what to do. That is going to be. It's going to stop us from just opening these businesses and doing nothing with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So whenever you have your next podcast or next seminar, let us know so that we can join in on that seminar and probably have our fan base to be able to join in too. I think that's some great
content. Definitely. We could pub it on our social media pages and talk about it. That would be great. And like I said, this is very important. And I think we even need to start, younger, like with 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Because I'm telling you, I didn't know nothing about taxes other than the sales taxes that you pay when you buy them.
I started 16 kids. At 16 years old, they get their first lesson from me at 16.
Yes.
That right there.
I was paying taxes at 16.
Yeah, they do get a lesson because you
filing income taxes.
Filing income taxes.
Dixon jobs and they part-time jobs. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't working.
I was working. You told us that now.
Right.
Yeah, those kids have McDonald's and KFCs. They have their part-time jobs, and they, the Walmart now. So they are young and actually working, and they are in single-family households. A lot of them. So they're trying to help mom out the best way they can and help dad out the best way they can. So they are working and trying to pay all their taxes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's for real time to go because this is my older cousin that is asking me if I done join AARP. I'm gonna join after you.
I joined already.
I have not joined, but I think when did you join? I don't even know when you joined. Well, I guess it's my time. 2020 was my golden year, so I guess so. Maybe I need to go ahead and join. But I'll follow him in there. So he probably done been in there, so he could teach me the ropes.
Yes.
I'm gonna get you back, Chuck. I just want you to know. So good. Oh my God, such good information. We went over our time, but folks still hanging in here with us. So that is great. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight.
Always.
If you are watching us on Facebook, go ahead and hit that like button. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Like, follow, subscribe, share. This is Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
And they do. And they do. So thank you so much, ITV, for hanging out with us and giving us all this good information. Such a good night. Oh my goodness. I love it.
We only got halfway through. See?
I know. So, friends, I still got a whole list of stuff that she didn't even touch on.
Listen,
so yeah,
you're coming back. I'm sorry.
Definitely.
I will gladly come back. Let me know I'm here with you.
So thank you guys for everything. We'll see you guys next Thursday. We'll be right here, same time, same station. Whether you're watching us Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching us, we'll be right back here next Thursday at 9:00. And hopefully JT can stay in. I don't know what happened. He got kicked out. What's going on?
He didn't have his family on.
Right, that's what he needed to do. He needs some Rattler Nation. That's what he did. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you guys later. Good night.